Okay, welcome. And today we're going to talk about grammar through sentence diagramming. This is part 1, and I'm Teacher Mark. Let's get started. In this video, we'll learn about why to sentence diagram. How is it helpful? The 8 parts of speech, we'll just mention them briefly. And then we'll talk about helping verbs and modal verbs. And that will give us the background to begin our first diagrams in the next video. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is, why diagram? Why learn this? Well, I can think of a couple reasons. The first reason is, it trains our minds to analyze a sentence. It allows us to critically look at a sentence and figure it out or understand it. Number 2, it can help us find the meaning. If you know how the pieces of a sentence fit together, then we can see how they correctly work together to create a meaning. Number 3, it will help you write better. If you can think about how a sentence fits together through diagramming and grammar, then when you write your own sentences, you can do it in a more correct way. And last of all, it helps with efficiency. We don't know all vocabulary words, and sometimes sentence structures are a little bit confusing. So with diagramming, we can see which parts of the sentence are the ones we need to focus on to understand the meaning of the sentence or to get the basic idea of a sentence. So with sentence diagramming, it'll give us a point to direct us to the parts we need to spend our time on. Okay, so these are 4 reasons why I think sentence diagramming. 1, training your mind to look at a sentence and understand it. 2, can help you find the meaning of a sentence or get the meaning of it and see how the grammar helps create meaning. Number 3, will improve your writing of your own sentences. And number 4, for sentences you don't understand or have lots of words you don't know, you can see which words and parts of the sentence you need to focus on to get the meaning you need out of it. Okay, so let's continue from that. Okay, in English we have 8 parts of speech, and these are the kinds of words that there are. And you can remember 8 because you think about an octopus, right? Because an octopus has 8 arms or 8 legs. Okay, so what are they? We'll go over them briefly and then talk about them more in depth as we need them as we go along. So first are nouns. Number 2, pronouns. Number 3, verbs, of course. Verbs are very important. 4, adjectives. Number 5, adverbs. Number 6, prepositions. Number 7, conjunctions. And number 8, interjections. Okay. So these are the 8 parts of speech. Nouns are names of persons, places, things, or ideas. Pronouns are words that take the place of a noun, such as I, you, he, she, and it, and they. Verbs are actions, often, but they can also be things that link 2 ideas together, and we'll see that later. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. Adverbs modify verbs or modify each other, or they can also modify adjectives. Prepositions are short words like in, from, at, after, before, until, and so forth. There's many prepositions in English. Conjunctions are words that join things together, or can join words and phrases and whole sentences even. Their conjunctions are words like and, but, or, so, and others. Interjections, these are words like expressing emotion, like OMG, or hey, or well, and so forth. Okay, so let's get on to the next part now. So the first thing we're going to talk about with verbs are helping verbs. So we should remember verb to be, and to do, and to have. And so these have several forms. So for be, we have, of course, be, is, in the past was, are, were, am, been, and being. For do, we have do, does, did, and done. And for have, of course, has, had, and that's it, had again for the verb 3. Okay, so these are the helping verbs. So they are verbs that combine with other verbs to create sentences with such as present continuous and the passive voice and so forth. Also present perfect and past perfect. So we'll see more about those later. Just remember these words for now. Now let's go to the next part. Okay, so the next part we should talk about are modal verbs. Notice this is an A here, not E. It's modal, not model. So modal verbs tell us about responsibility and things that we must or should do. Okay, so here's the list of them. May, can, must, might, could, would, should, shall, and will. One thing that's different about modal verbs is that they never change their form. They never change their spelling. No matter how the subject or the time, past, present, or future, the modal verbs always stay the same. Many times with other verbs, such as like if you have eat and you want to say he eats, you have to spell it E-A-T-S, right? So we have I eat, he eats. And then we have the spelling changed to add an S in that because of he. But with modal verbs, we never have to worry about adding S or changing anything to fit the subject or to fit the past, present, or future. They're always the same. Okay. Alright, so that's your brief introduction. So now you know some reasons why to study sentence diagramming. You've also seen a brief overview of the 8 parts of speech, and we'll go over each part in depth as we get to it in the diagram. And the third thing is we've learned about helping verbs and modal verbs. So now you're ready to begin diagramming, which will start in the next video. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.